Good morning. It's Monday instead of Sunday. I took care of my almost 3-year-old granddaughter Saturday night, so there wasn't a lot of sleep involved and there was a lot of play. So I'm here on Monday talking to you about how do we shift perspectives during all of these solar flares, right? So to just give you an update, the solar activity was very intense last week. We had an X-class flare that was the highest it's been since 2017 and the highest in combination with other flares than it has been for years, if not historically. So what that's telling me is that it's getting more intense and it's getting more fun. And I'm going to qualify that, right? So it makes sense that these solar flares are affecting all of us sentient beings, right? Anything with a cellular structure, anything that holds light within its body is going to be affected by the solar flares. So what I've been doing for the last year is kind of helping you navigate through that and understand that. And what I notice is that some of us are exuberant and full of light and sparkle, and we like these flares, especially the young ones. And that there are also those of us who feel inundated, dense, heavy, not sleeping, not able to hold their schedule, and they feel broken down, full of fear. And it, again, is going to come back to our perspective and the ways that we were raised, the ways that the densities that we have on our bodies. Makes sense, right? So I did a quick reel on Instagram and Facebook yesterday on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer because I pulled that out, dusted it off, and showed it to my 3-year-old, which was the biggest mistake I've made in a long time, just to know. And I did a lot of translating because I saw things about our societal structure that were firmly in place in 1964 when this movie was made. Right? So it helped me to understand, oh man, how far have I come with each decade, with each perspective that I've shifted on the way that leadership was, right? So it was the rules of leadership. It was how our group mentality works. So what I was seeing was that the leadership on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was punitive. It enlisted the group to sway in judgment, to shame and blame. And that, even after the misfits within the movie were able to prove that they had skills and that they could save the day, there were still no apologies or no reconciliation about what happened during the childhood of this young elf and this young reindeer, right? I mean, it puts it in perspective as to what the leadership looked like for us in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and what we were raised with, right? So I've been coaching parents in family systems since the mid 90s, and I've been focusing on those misfits, those creatives, those unique child, those kids that come from family systems that have really old-fashioned or very tight roles and expectations, whether it comes from religion, whether it comes from education, whether it comes from family lineage patterns, right? And as our children have been progressing in frequency, they've been coming to our earth, incarnating with a cleaner, stronger frequency. It means that the rub between the parent and the child is more intense, especially when the parent or the employer or the extended family, right, doesn't understand that frequency and doesn't understand the freedom that comes with that frequency. Does that make sense? So I'm linking the frequency of these young kids with the fact that they are usually exuberant and light and full of sparkle when these flares are coming, and that those of us who are older with conditioning within our body are feeling this a lot harder, right? So, what I'm seeing is that whether it's you're 40 and over and you still have some of those Gen X, gotta prove that I know how to do this better than you do. And I say that lovingly because I love that about them. whether you're 50 or 60, whether you're grandparenting in your 70s or 80s, it's time to shift perspective and let go of that old self, sort of, whether it's a model, whether it's a role, whether it's a norm of who you are, how families exist, how children should be, blah, 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 right? Because what we want to do is we want to meet these new children, these friends, these employees, these people we interact with who are younger with with a different kind of relationship, right? We want to meet them with awe and respect and joy and curiosity and love. Oh, so much love. And notice how many of these young ones actually, they shine. They sparkle when we give them that kind of love and awe. Like, you're just cool. I love the way that you're living your life. And when we can do that with them, what happens is that we see ourselves shift as well. So we're, instead of looking at what's wrong with the world, we're looking at what's beautiful, what's light, what's working, and look at the kids, look at our future. And so, I have a challenge for you, which is between now and the end of 2023. So we have a little bit, maybe 2 weeks, shy of 2 weeks. Track the flares, track the solar activity, and meet each of the symptoms that come up with you with the same thing that I'm asking you to do with these young ones, right? Which is meet it with awe, with curiosity, with respect, with joy, with love and excitement. Like, oh, wow, we just had a big one. I wonder what's going to happen in my body now. Because when we can do that, whether we're traveling or we're hosting or we're observing or we're actually retreating away from all of this last end of the year stuff, all this holiday fa-la-la stuff, it gives us an opportunity to track the solar flare activities and respond differently. So in the back of your mind, keep an eye out on these little posts that I'm putting out on Facebook, Pam Youngin's putting out. Go to spaceweather.com and create a new perspective, which is, what if I respond to all of this with love and joy and curiosity and playfulness? So I've got 6 tips for you. But before I do that, I really want to hone in that bringing coaching and parenting and these new energy kids and family lineage patterns and how to switch perspectives has been an absolute passion of mine, and I am available if you would like some assistance with that, whether it's a single coaching or we could work on it through tarot. There's lots of intuitive tools that I use. Whatever works for you. If I can be of service, please let me know how I can help. Okay? So 6 tips. First one, build your observation skills, right? And your claircognizant, which is the ability to know. How do I know this? I can't tell you. I just know it in my body. And then notice within your body, what is it doing in relationship to the reports that you're seeing on the current flare, right? Start to tie these two together. So you're using your claircognizance, which is, I know things that I'm remembering things, right? That I didn't even know that I knew. And I'm tracking the flares, the solar winds, the geomagnetic storms, because we're in the middle of one now. We had a huge CME burst off of the sun, and it was projected that it would hit Earth and really turn it topsy-turvy Saturday night, Sunday, and it kind of hit a little bit and bumped around a bit, and then everyone said, well, maybe it's over, and now it's starting to sort of grow. So it may have been delayed, it may be different, we don't know. So track it, right? Be your own energy detective and track with your observer, with your eyes, with your mind, what's working, what's not, right? What am I seeing? How am I putting all of this together? Number 2, notice what stories you carry in your head when you see that there's a flare reported. This is going to be so hard. Oh no, it means I'm not going to get any more sleep tonight. Like, watch these fear and dread and spinning the story of your body, your aches, your no sleep, and sort of find out, or what else happens. Do you get excited? Do you go, oh wow, here we go again? Buckle up, Buttercup, right? Are you ready? Are you prepared? This is your choice. You get to decide how you're going to address these. Am I going to go forward? Am I going into dread and fear and pain and no sleep? Or am I going to go forward with curiosity and playfulness, right? Number 3, try opening up your system, your entire field, your pineal gland, the top of your head where Keter lives, within the tree of life. Look at what happens when you open up and you receive. Hey, bring it on. I want this. I want my cells to be enlightened. To spark, to come to life, right? I want my body to feel happy, to feel sparkly. I want to awaken my DNA. I want to let this in and I want to celebrate it. So when you have the idea that a flare is coming, open it up like the lotus flower. Open it up and receive it, okay? Number 4, interact with others, especially those of all ages, right? When you're alive, when you're sparkly, when you're lit up, when you're happy, when you're joyful. Bring your energy of this lightened cellular system into who you meet and watch who interacts with you, because it'll be so different to watch who kind of pushes you back like, ooh, too much, or the one who steps forward and goes, oh, you're just so amazing today, right? Because this happens on a daily basis. Number 5, if you're heavy, if you're feeling pain, if you can feel the densities, nurture yourself, right? And coax yourself like it's okay. So imagine that you're a grandmother or a mother, or that you are a parent that you didn't maybe have, who just sort of wraps your arms around yourself and says, hey, it's kind of cool out there. It's nothing to be afraid of. I had to do that with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, right? With the abominable snowman, because, initially that's kind of scary. So it was kind of like, look at him. He's pretty big. He looks pretty scary. I bet you he's not that scary. So what we do is we coax ourselves into a lighter sense of being. We change our perspective from what's actually happening, and we manage our self-talk and our thoughts, and we steer towards something that we can shift, because we can shift our own perspectives. All we have to do is put it down, walk over 10 feet from a different angle, and come at it, and our perspective shifts. And number 6, the last one, is to have compassion. I'm always going to close with compassion, because we are in some of the biggest times of change in our world, and our bodies are going through it, and our culture is going through it, and our economics are going through it, and everything's happening, right? So when we change perspective that this is ongoing, that this is fun, challenging, really good work, and that's what I'm here for, then we do the very best that we can, and that's all we really can do, right? Is look around with compassion. I'm doing the very best I can, and all of us are. So again, I hope this is helpful. Please leave comments, ask questions. Let's make this interactive as much as we can. And you have a great holiday week, and I will see you on the 26th or the 25th. Depends on what the recording can feel like. Thank you. Bye.